Good morning. So my work in river connectivity systems has led me to a French company who's developed a product called Water Tracks, which you see up in front of us. It's a underwater approach to dredging, and we're looking to develop a pathway to evaluation and demonstration here in the United States. And so my current work is focused on selective water withdrawal at the other end of the dam. How do we address stratification and downstream migration of invasive species? I'm focused on the Glen Canyon Dam there at the Grand Canyon. But sedimentation is the other end of this work, if you will. So moving forward, we know we have a tremendous loss of reservoir capacity throughout the United States right now. I think this graphic by Melissa Foster is just fantastic. Every 2 years, we're losing something like 5 reservoirs worth of storage. And the infrastructure impacts of that are just phenomenal. It's storage and flood control, hydropower and water delivery, our intakes and outtakes, dam safety and habitat and navigation and the cost. And we've been talking about this and how it's focused on these local sites here in this region, but they're international. And we know that the reservoir management approaches we're using not to, are not appropriate. The water injection dredging, fantastic new technology, but the traditional approaches just are not, as we all know in this room, are not sufficient for most of our reservoirs. And the emerging operation needs are something with the lower operation footprint, something that allows continued, I can barely read, what have I got there? Access, flexibility, and precision sediment management. How do we precisely remove what's stored in those reservoirs? And the belief is that some of our reservoirs are going to benefit from lower impact, more operational, flexible sediment management approaches. And this is what's been developed and is currently working at a couple of sites that I'll discuss in France. NESSI, it's a remotely operated underwater sediment management excavation system, a robot, if you will. You can see in the graphic there it is at the bottom of the dam. Feeding its operation is the remote control for the power, a dredging pipe. The dredge itself has an anti-jam cutter at the front of it. It's ballastable. It's got ballastable tanks, so it can sit right down there on the bottom. It has obstruction detection sonar in it, and it can be driven from a connex from a facility on shore remotely. And the idea is use this device to move the sediment from one side of the dam to the other. And with this real-time monitoring and deep reservoir capacity and electric drive and autonomous deployment, we could have sustainable downstream sediment management. So with any new technology, it requires a long technical readiness level to bring it to market. This technology started in 2017, and the developer responded to a request by EDF, the large French electric company, for an innovative solution on a particular challenge. And in the years 2018, 2020 or so, they were developing prototypes. By 2021 to 2024, started in operational deployments. And just last year, by 2025, they've developed what they call the Super NESI. And the idea is deep water operations, real-time sediment management, concentration controls, environmental compliance, and the ability to scale this up to different sites. And here in the United States, we're all aware of environmental compliance restrictions. I can assure you in France, they're very strict as well. So I want to talk about a case study. I visited the site last August, in the Alps in France. You can see on the map there, the mountains there in Switzerland. And this is the upper basin of a pump storage facility. And if you're not familiar with pump storage, it's two reservoirs, an upper reservoir and a lower reservoir, and they circulate water back and forth between them. It's an arbitrage type of business. When the price is low, you can pump the water uphill. When the price is good, the water comes downhill. The upper reservoir of this pump storage facility is filling with sediment coming out of the Alps. And the facility itself is large, 400, 500 megawatts of power. And it's that sedimentation that's reducing the cost effectiveness and the value of a critical electronic facility. And this is what it looks like. So there's 30,000 to 60,000 cubic meters of sediment a year coming into this, and there's over 1.5 million cubic meters of sediment that's accumulated. And once again, it's a large facility, it's critical. And so what the effect of that sedimentation is reduced usable storage capacity and operational flexibility and exposed sediment banks at low water and long-term degradation of the basin performance. And so the solution has been this product called NESI, and it's an underwater excavator. And the way this works is the machine is operated remotely, dredging in this upper basin. The spoils are conditioned hydraulically for turbulence reduction. Particles are returned to the upper reservoir, and the sediment is then transferred downstream through a 7-kilometer, 5-mile pressurized pipeline with 300 meters of head, and then there's a controlled discharge. It gives you just a brief idea of what this looks like, remotely controlled. It's a tractor. This is a super short video of a slow machine. And it's hard to see, but there's the cutter heads are right there in the middle underneath the bottom of that thing. And that's what it looks like again. Production capacities are 150 to 350 cubic meters an hour. Working depth down to 300 meters or so, perhaps deeper. Dimensions, 9 feet long and fairly heavy. Electric power. What else can I tell you? It's silent, of course. On-board flow and density sensors. Integrated ballasting, so it can sink or rise. And adaptable to the individual site. On shore, in a container, you've got the operation system with real-time monitoring and automatic controls and ability right then and there for compliance monitoring. At a different site, just downriver from from the pump storage facility. The run-of-the-river hydro facility normally has a high degree of sedimentation. They're very experienced with sediment management in order to keep this facility open. However, there was an extreme event. A sediment and the tail race was obstructed, and the site conditions and the constraints were such that there wasn't much you could do to get that sediment out. What they needed was the problem wasn't just the volume of sediment, but they needed a precision way to reduce that sediment. And the solution was something like this. The Lizzie, which was an underwater excavator. And you can see that a cutter at the front of it. 15 cubic meters an hour in production. Once again, depths up 300 meters. Fairly small, electric, completely controlled on shore. Once again, that underwater ballasting system. And what they were able to do with this particular machine was over 2,000 meters of cubic meters of volume sediment were returned. They were able to clear an area 16 meters by 6, and 40 days on the site, it was back in operation. So the opportunity for the facility to quickly return to operation with precision and control without underwater divers in the water, the machine proved effective. And this is basically, this is what it looked like. You can see that cutter head there. There it is being lifted by a crane into the site. Traditional dredging pipes on the side. The dredge material was monitored as it was re-entered into the river below it to make sure the sediment didn't exceed the standards set by the French government. Turbidity monitoring, adaptive releases, dilution control equals downstream protection, sensitivity to fish, and compliance. And so the benefits at these sites were the reservoir could stay online. Nothing had to shut down. We didn't have to draw down anything. We could protect these intakes and preserve the storage, reduce the out risk, and do this with precision. And so this technology now has been proven. The company has been awarded on a continual basis recognition by ICOL, the International Commission on Large Dams, for innovation. But like any other type of new technology, it needs validation, not in France, but here in the United States. And the validation is needed. We need to identify a suitable site to demonstrate how something like this could affect our unique situations. And once that site's been identified, need to confirm and see if there's an operational fit. And then once that's done, we'll be able to test and evaluate a different methodology to addressing a universal problem. One of the things about our dams and rivers is if you've seen one, you've seen one. Every one is different. And so as we look at new technology, what's required is a way to take what's worked elsewhere and apply it to our particular needs. And that's what I wanted to talk about with water tracks. And at that point, I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you. The upper, the first one, on ongoing project, multiple years, for many of the reasons we can just imagine. We can't dump so much sediment in so fast. We've got to span it out. 5-kilometer pipe under, between the upper and lower reservoirs, and it will go on somewhat indefinitely. Very cost effectively, though. It's just a way to deal with this incoming sediment, trying to get back to stations. It is, the cost benefits will be different here, but the overall benefits are economic to EDF, the operator, and in comparison to the alternatives. Yeah. It's all electric. Battery power and shore power systems driving the tractor underwater. That's a great question. There is there are airbags in this thing that self-deploy, and kind of a cool thing to look at in the videos and the testing of this thing popping out of the water in the worst of worst. I'm not aware of what is appropriate for our domestic market to answer that question, but of course it's critical. Yeah, yeah. But no oil or little oils no gasoline, no diesel. On a umbilical cord, yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah. I think I misspoke on, but yes. Yes. So it's cool technology. He's, once again, I mentioned ballastable a few times. He's got this device to be able to get to the right level and to get the cutter head to the right depth. And it's very adjustable, centimeters of accuracy. Controlled by sonar, as you can imagine. And we, very precise dredging ability. To drive this thing from the surface, so underwater it goes where you want, height or depth of the cutting. And then the mixture, the sludge, I thought it was fascinating. It was great to see yesterday. It was great demonstrations yesterday. And good to see that sludge, and that sludge is in mixed to the appropriate discharge levels that are allowed or required or targeted. And mixed with water, and off it goes downstream. Or in this case, in the first one, it goes to a settling pond upstream, pressurized, and yeah. But the concept is to reintroduce that back into the river below it, and in some sites that'll make sense, and other ones it won't. I don't have that answer, John. But what we could see from the pictures is you've got these, it's a mountainous region with fast flowing streams and a lot of sediment being moved. So sands and gravels. I don't think it's muds quite like this, but yeah. Yeah, the rivers themselves are quite muddy, quite dirty, and yet fish protection and sediment loads are still really critical to monitor. The power is you know, for the French standard grid, and I would suggest for a demonstration in the United States, we would be looking at you know, our U.S. grid, of course, and trying to match our power supply with the machine itself. Yeah. Let me see if I can go back here. It's a big underwater tractor. Let's see if we can go back. Volt. This is a big machine. You can see the size of it and the weight. Anybody else? Thank you very much.